Peace and welcome to another Artist Talk here at Motor House. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank y'all so much for checking in with us. All right, folks, today we are going to be checking in with an artist that's a part of our new 4.0 Digital Artist Portfolio Program cohort. Yeah, I'm gonna say that again. The DAP 4.0 cohort, we're gonna be checking in with Rae, and they are gonna give us some insight about who they are, the work that they do, their artistry, and of course, getting us prepared for the big performance. So I definitely want you to stay around for that. But before we get into the conversation with Rae, make sure you do your due diligence and check in with us. We want you to follow us on all social media platforms at Motor House Baltimore. Check out our website, motorhousebaltimore.com. And of course, again, Motor House Baltimore on IG. If you're not a friend of Motor House, then what's your problem? What is really the problem? We give you all the latest news and updates and some of the happenings of all the things happening here at Motor House. And we want you to be involved and to show us your love and your support. So for all of those who are supportive of Motor House, we thank you. If you haven't had a chance to join us on our social media platform, please do. We truly, truly appreciate and welcome your friendship. All right, folks, now it's the time for us to check in with Rae to give us some insight about the work that they are doing. And so let us, without further ado, welcome Rae to Motor House. Good evening, Rae. How are you?
Hi, good evening. I'm well.
Good.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
All right, Rae, first and foremost, let's start off with those who don't know you.
All right.
I mean, I know you have a social media following. Somewhat.
Sure. I don't know. Like maybe for 2015.
Maybe for 20, for not now.
I think it's inflated.
All right, well, let's start off here. How are you considering this has been a very interesting year for artists for the past year and a half, right?
Yeah. This year was like the year of if you don't have your self really aligned, you were pushed in a corner to do that. That's something that happened for me and really kind of, I think, pushed me into this place where I'm kind of now running like full steam ahead with my art, because now it kind of like I had to sit down and like kind of remember / like let myself know, like, no, like it's time now. Like it's time. Like as soon as we're allowed to go outside, like you will have a plan and you'll do the thing. So,
right.
Yeah.
All right. So for those who may not be familiar, talk to us a little bit about the art that you do.
So I am a musician and a composer. I started singing when I was a very small child. I would not be quiet. So like my parents were like, go do stuff. And they were extremely supportive of my lessons, supportive of me wanting to sing, all of that. My dad was a drummer. My parents did tech, but like since he was a drummer, he kind of understood and helped like cultivate that creativity that I had. So like I was allowed to come to his jam sessions and all that stuff. I couldn't play. Drums are not my thing, but I found my thing, and I used to always like tinker around on piano. I never was super confident about it though, because you know, I grew up, 10 of my, like the first 10 years of my life, I was in PG County. Then I moved to Howard County for 10 years, which was a shift. And what I saw around me musically there, like kids who had been doing it since they were 3. Like there were a couple instances I know, like I was told it was too late for me to learn. I was like 15. Yes, I started playing piano at in 2016.
Wait a minute, hold on, Rae. You were told.
Yes.
As a teenager, it was too late for you to learn music.
Yes. To learn how to play piano, to learn composition. And I kind of was stubborn, and I'm glad I was. And I sought out teachers. I sought out vocal teachers and folks who could really help me figure out like how to read music. I really didn't know until I was auditioning for college, honestly. I had been in choirs since probably 3rd grade. Somehow I didn't know. So it really
But I actually heard that a lot of even our legacy musicians, I just found out actually that James Brown didn't know how to read music.
Yeah, actually like a lot of like Black musicians weren't allowed. They were kind of shut out of the actual
writing composition portion?
Yeah. And I think there's like a lot with that because remember, copyright was about, the score. So if you didn't have a score, you technically didn't own your song unless someone owned the master and the recording and all of that, which is stuff I learned at Howard University, where I, was really embraced and, so many of my classmates had similar experiences. I didn't know how to play piano there and I didn't want to fail my classes, so I really worked my butt off those 2 years that I was there and had amazing teachers who kind of, were able to, if I saw they had a lesson that wasn't there, like Cyrus Chestnut was a teacher at Howard, and when he wasn't touring and just randomly gone, which was hilarious, and I'm like, I want to be you when I grow up. He was like, and his office was empty, he would let me play, and I was a novice, obviously, but he treated me as if I weren't, like as if I were one of his students, which was like amazing and not something that happens everywhere. So I was really blessed to be in that space. And then, financial things happened. Took a year off and I began teaching actually.
Okay.
I taught around DC privately and then started teaching in Baltimore City with a nonprofit organization called LTYC. They're great.
Shout out to LTYC.
Helped me through my first year of college. Or first year at Coppin, really, honestly. But I finished my degree at Coppin this year. So, and, working with GBCA helped that too. So this has been actually the first space, this past several months has really been the first time I've really been able to have the resources even to dig into my music and my artistic vision the way I want to.
Yeah.
Like the practicing is one thing, but then making your vision, making like who you are translatable to other people. And I also do communication. So to me, I'm like hyper aware of it because I'm like, I help people like, package themselves. So for me, packaging myself, for some reason, a lot of thought, a lot of thought. But I realized at the end of the day, I didn't need thought because it was already there. And I was like, I've done all this and, thought about this endlessly for why? Okay, great. I was born with it and I just needed to step into it. And that's fact.
So you stepped into it professionally around what time?
2016 really is when I started gigging around the DMV. I was singing jazz. And then I kind of veered away from that and went into education, but now I'm kind of coming back with my music, with my style, which I kind of merge jazz and neo soul and pop. Like I listened to a lot of pop growing up, a lot of musical theater as well, a lot of pop musical theater, and like they heard that when I came to Howard, and they were like, "My God, why do you sound like a theater kid? We don't need that. We need you to calm down. Like, actually, like, you don't have to sing the note for that long." And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah. And so I kind of did it kind of successfully. And my teacher, she was right. She was like, you don't really seem dedicated to jazz. I used to like to put on shows and stuff and like engage with other artists. I'm like, you're right. You are. You're right. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. I'm like, I can't. I'm like, I got to figure out a way to make it mine, and that's something that's always been, just facts. Like my voice has always been, I used to think it was strange. I didn't know it was, or I used to not think it was strange, but I knew it didn't sound like other folks. But then when I went into a lot of like choral spaces and heard what was, a very, sorry, like I'm not sorry, but like kind of like a very Eurocentric standard and kind of like metric for what the voice is supposed to sound like. It didn't necessarily sound like that, but then, there was always that thing of like, we're gonna pigeonhole you into gospel, but I didn't necessarily sound like that either.
Right.
So people were just like,
so what do you do?
try to blend, please.
Try to blend.
Just try to blend.
Create a hybrid genre.
That's what I ended up doing.
Okay.
But, I've been blessed to be able to sing in groups and do all of that stuff. But for me, I think it actually brings me a lot of peace to be able to sit there and just talk about my truth. My music is simplistic because that's where I am right now, theoretically. I plan on building that skill and honing that muscle. But for me, I've always been a lyricist. I've always written poems. It's very important to me that people hear what I have to say, period. So right now, the words are a lot, not louder than the music per se, but for me, I'm very lyrically focused and lyrically driven. But I do like really like I want to when I do my actual album, like I want to Alicia Keys it. I want to like be a beast. And
Right.
I know like if I did this in 4 years to where I can accompany myself, I damn sure a few more, you know, especially being able to like afford lessons now, like that. I can't wait. Like I'm excited to grow into this.
So how did you hear about this opportunity to be a part of our digital artist portfolio program?
Actually, Mighty Mark sent it to my Instagram.
Nice.
He, you know, I've done a couple songs with him, and really,
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you. And he's just like really great about sharing resources and stuff.
Yeah.
And like I had heard from a couple other people about it too, but like you know, he was like the third person. I think I just saw it on Instagram and I was like, I don't know what this is. I'm tired. I'm gonna keep scrolling. But he like sent it to me and I was like, all right, cool.
I'll make a note of that next time I post it.
No, I'm sorry. Oh no. No, I'm really bad. I don't want social media.
Here's an opportunity.
No, I didn't know it was an
Who was this?
opportunity.
Motorhouse.
No, I couldn't like.
Must be a basement company.
I look at my I work here, so I like I work on the third floor. So,
Right.
No,
right,
I love you, but
right.
like I look at my Instagram like at 7 in.the.morning and everything. I'm like I shouldn't.
By the fact that you work here, right?
I didn't know y'all did this actually. I was like, cool. I like how it was upstairs, and I didn't know. That's fine. It's good. It's all right. But it was great. And when I actually read the print that was there in my face instead of just being half asleep, I was like, this sounds cool. I wasn't sure if, you know, I'm not going to say I wasn't sure if I was ready, but like I kind of, like once I thought, you know, it's a whole thing not talking yourself out of your blessings. So
Can we? I just need to. I mean, we don't have a lot of time, but I need you to say that again.
It is a whole thing
Come
not
on.
talking yourself out of your blessings. Which, if that's a thesis statement for this interview,
come on.
that's kind of been my whole career, was me doubting myself. And like recently, 2020 was me looking in the mirror and being like, no, you were born to do this and you have always been capable of this. And, you know, despite what I was told and everything, from a lot of different spaces, like, you know, I'm also queer, I'm gender transcendent. So there are like a lot of factors, there are a lot of layers, there are a lot, like, you know, even Howard, it was like, you know, the music school, it was like a lot of church musicians, which is, so I wasn't really out there for real. Because I was like, I don't want to deal with that right now because this seems like a lot and I really just need to know these scales. And that's it. And it's just the scales, but like really not prioritizing yourself. For me, like when I started to prioritize myself, when I started to care for myself, I realized that loving myself is loving this as well, is doing this.
Accepting all of yourself.
Accepting all
no
of myself.
No longer rejecting
not
certain
settling.
things. Not settling, right.
For half that stuff I kind of care about, like no.
So how have you been able to, you know, you're kind of growing into your own, not on just your own personality, but your own artistry. How have you been able to temper other people's voices and their expectations? Because I know that's a big challenge for a lot of artists.
Yeah, it's taken me 5 years to, my visual EP is called Seven songs. I kind of looked down one day and saw that I love each and every one of them, and I don't like fluff in projects. So for me, when I saw those 7 songs, I had to be honest with myself because for years, like some of those arrangements were perfect the way I got them. I listened to other people. I did the runaround. I did that. I did the whole, I listened to everybody's input. I did the runaround. I'm like, this doesn't fit, you know, and then like in this year of solitude, I've reworked stuff. But like literally the other day, I was like, oh, this song that I wrote 4 years ago was like perfect when I wrote it. That arrangement was fine. I just remembered someone telling me, hey, you probably shouldn't play it on piano because you're not ready for that because you've never done it. But I had like practiced my butt off and everything. And it was like, you know, for me, it was, I didn't understand. I was like 19. I didn't understand, the layers. Like even T-Pain the other day and it caught me off guard. He was like, people hate me sometimes. Some musicians really don't like me because my music is simple. And I was like, wait, that's a thing? And it was like that, like, I was like, wait, that is a thing. And like, it's something I've seen, like elitism is real. It is so real. But for me, it's like, I realized that I like to listen and investigate. Mm-hmm. And after do investigation, if I don't like the outcome, I'm going to try a different way. But for me, it's really been listening to myself, like finding that center, aligning with like my divine, with myself, with my higher self, honestly, also to just kind of understand and embrace, like, no, this is your message. Yeah. You've been placed here to do this thing, to say this thing. And, other people can say it, but no one's going to say it like you. Yeah. And that's not better or worse or anything, but like, I have a purpose. The music, nothing comes out without a purpose. Awesome. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. As we wrap up this portion, what can folks expect from your performance and just from you as an artist as you continue to grow on this path?
So yeah, I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna start with my name. I go by Rae the Conjurer because with that whole thing of people, that doubt and everything, it's not just for people. For me, it's kind of a reminder that no, if I will it, it can happen. Yeah. If I dare to dream that large, like it's possible. It's not necessarily, the magic is taking that energy, however it was meant for you, and making something beautiful out of it. So in my music, it's about real life. It's about the intersections of like my identity personally, of surviving trauma, of healing from trauma, of having space, honestly, to grieve, because that's huge, of that understanding. It's about understanding who you are and that you've had it the whole time. Mm-hmm. And it's really about freedom, honestly. I like to make sure my audience goes on a journey. 7 is definitely going to be visually and also musically a journey of coming of age, honestly. So what you're going to hear is real life. I don't write just to write. I write because I have to. It was never something where I was like, I want to be a composer, so let's be a composer. It was, I need to find a way to get this out, and I don't know how, so let me learn a way to get it out. And that's kind of what's been driving me, and that's why I know that this isn't something I'm going to put down anytime soon. So what to expect is a lot more in the coming years, because I'm still 24. I've got some time to do some stuff, God willing. So I'm going to try, to keep doing what I've done with this. It took me 5 years to write those 7 songs once again. So I'm going to go live more life, and I'm going to process it, and I'm going to make something beautiful. And hopefully, people vibe with it. So.
Oh, definitely. Cool. Rae, thank you so much for your time to spend just to share with us a little bit about who you are and your artistry. Thank you. We look forward to your performance. And I want to give you an opportunity to invite people to check you out on any platforms that you may have, or where they can find you on IG and Facebook and all that.
Facebook, I don't know Facebook, but like I haven't Facebooked in a while, so don't look there. But first of all, thank you for this opportunity overall. It's great, y'all. Definitely, if you're an artist, like do this next year. It's great. But also, my Instagram is Rae_the_conjurer. And also my Twitter is just Rae the Conjurer. So that's that. And I'm on Spotify under the same name. And really all streaming platforms that are a thing. You can find me there, look me up, and yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Rae.
Great.
Appreciate you. Folks, the artist is Rae the Conjurer. You want to make sure you check them out at Motor House Baltimore on our Instagram and, of course, our website. But more importantly, stay tuned, because up next, you're going to hear what Rae has to do with this thing here, this beautiful piano back here. Going to give you a virtual performance that you don't want to miss. So we thank Rae the Conjurer for the chat today. And most importantly, we thank you for joining us. Stay tuned. Up next is Rae the Conjurer performing for our Digital Artist Portfolio program.